to, the last couple of years, take a focus on.
Thanks for joining us here just after 9:30 on a Wednesday morning. You're watching live Impact News on WCNC Plus, listening in on General Assembly state leaders talking about disaster and Helene recovery, passing a bill for approval, moving on to the next state. Want to talk about right now some news in Charlotte. Councilman Tariq Bokhari stepping down from his position leading his district from Charlotte City Council in the South Park area. Announcing this Tuesday night in order to be the number 2 transit official in President Donald Trump's Department of Transportation. We bring in now morning anchor Ben Thompson. How are you, Ben?
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to be back at the Impact Studio.
Yes, we appreciate you coming in here all the time. You know Mr. Bokhari. I mean, so is this a surprise to you?
I guess to some extent the when it happened and how it happened and the actual job maybe, but I think Councilmember Bokhari has probably been looking for other opportunities elsewhere, and this is just based on my conversations with him over the years, because he's been in City Council now for 8 years, and it's just a fact that Charlotte is a very democratic city. And
how
so
we are approaching
there's only
magistrate.
2 Republican city council members, him and Ed Driggs, and I think there's probably limited places for him to go in current Charlotte's political climate. So I think he has worked a lot with state lawmakers recently. So I think I wasn't overly surprised that he's found another place to go. Although maybe some of the specifics was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah. So what does this mean then, moving on from Charlotte City Council? What does it mean for the current council?
Yeah. So what this means for him specifically,
Been a problem for a long time.
Details on what this means for him as far as does he have to move? Is his family going to stay here? I assume his family's probably going to stay here to a certain extent because they live in South Park and they have kids and everything like that. But it could have far-reaching implications for the city of Charlotte beyond just council, in that he is going to be the number 2 at the Federal Transit Administration. This is the administration within the federal government that decides federal grants. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars on federal grants. Any transit plan we talk about, and we talk about it almost a daily basis on WCNC Charlotte, is going to be contingent on some sort of federal grant. Now, we don't know to what degree, but we talked about the 1-cent sales tax and getting Raleigh on board with this and putting it in front of voters, and all that's true and all that has to happen. But in addition to that, or any other plan that we talk about here and that city leaders talk about, it's also going to be incumbent upon getting federal grants. And so the fact that he is now going to be the number 2 at this department is good news for folks who want to expand transit here in the Charlotte area, because we're going to have a voice there in the room making some of the decisions. Now, the Trump administration, as we know, has been slashing, government spending at the federal level. So we're not exactly sure what that's going to look like, because the Federal Transit, administration is still being put together. It's still in the early days under the Trump administration. So still, though, he's going to be a person who can advocate for Charlotte, like he's already done in the General Assembly when it comes to transit.
So this has happened before to a city council member where they moved or they left city council and left. What happens to that seat?
So the seat itself will be, I was texting with a city official this morning, and city council will fill this vacancy. First, in the near term, they're going to have to decide their process, how they want to go about doing it, and then they're going to actually vote. I don't have a firm timeline from city officials yet on that, but this will be a temporary appointment. Now, keep in mind, city council runs for re-election this year, so this person would fill an 8-month term, something like that, maybe 7-month term, until a new council member is elected. We do know this morning, WBT Radio is reporting, Brent Jensen is saying that Krista Bokhari, his wife, has said that she's putting her name in the hat, that she's interested in taking over. We know she ran for as a state house representative last year, did not win that race. So But that's really going to be dependent on what council wants and what council wants to do. I know oftentimes in situations like this, legislative bodies, whether it's city council or not, they want somebody who doesn't want the job because they don't want to be seen as tipping the scales in favor of someone who's then going to run and secure the slot. They want to fill it with somebody who just could be a placeholder. There's some precedent for that even at city council. 10, 12 years ago, when then Anthony Fox, the mayor, was tapped to lead the Obama administration's Department of Transportation and be a cabinet secretary. City council then, when they went to replace him, did not want to replace somebody who was gunning for the job. So they picked Patsy Kinsey, who was a District 1 representative who'd been on council sometime, who had no aspirations and no desire to be mayor of the city of Charlotte. So they picked her. She filled out the term. I believe that's the sort of how it happened, the timeline of how it happened. So I'll be interested to see if they want to pick somebody who wants the job or somebody who's just going to be sort of a seat filler for the next few months. Because they could also pick somebody who's held that position in the past. This is the district that encompasses South Park, so it could be Kenny Smith. He held the position before Tariq Bokhari, or before that, Andy Doolin. I think both gentlemen are still around, and maybe they don't want to do it for the next 7 months. But those are two men who could step in. They know the district, they know the job, and they could easily do it for the next 7 months, I would assume.
Oh, very interesting. And so we don't know if they have to move, like you said. And if his wife, Christy, takes over for the 7 months, that would make for an interesting dynamic. But then moving forward, like the city council is not required to make a move this month or in the next couple of weeks?
I think they'll want to do it in the next few weeks, depending on his resignation and how it happens and how it plays out. But they'll have to make that appointment, and then anybody who's wanting to run for this seat will have to file by this summer because they run this fall, and they would take office in December. So you could very well have somebody who's on that council very temporarily for a few months, and then somebody brand new elected by voters come November.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, yeah. Just when you think,
I know
election season's over,
I mean, 'cause
we're
city
settling
council,
down.
City council has been fairly, I'd say, stable the last few years. We had a big turnover like in 2017. That's when TARC came in and a bunch of other people. But the city council we have now, with one or two exceptions, has been fairly consistent for the last few years.
Yeah. All right. Morning anchor Ben Thompson, hanging out just a little bit longer on the stream.
That's right.
On WCNC Plus.
I know. You could probably get too much of me.
I doubt.
Apologies.
I doubt it. The people want to see what they want to see.
Please.
All right. Ben Thompson joining us
Thank
here,
you.
Live Impact Studio on WCNC Plus. Thank you as always.